So this time around, I want to make a slight improvement in the way that we actually serve JSON data to whoever makes a request to our backend API. But before I do that, last time around here in helpers.go, in the final case in this switch statement, even though I said 23503 when I was typing it, I actually typed 23403. So I fixed that before I posted the source code, and I'm sure you noticed it. In any case, let's have a look at how we're serving data now. So over my web browser, I just made a request, as you can see, to the root /users/all. And this feeds back nicely formatted JSON. Everything looks okay, and you can look at the raw data, and it all looks just fine. But one of the things that I've been doing for other requests is including that JSON response, using that JSON response type, and putting an error field and a message field and a data field. Now, that all works really well, and I could actually use the JSON type for this. But what I'd like to do is actually name this. Maybe I would name this as part of the data field. I'd wrap that whole thing with a label users, for example. And it turns out that's really easy to do in Go. So let's go back to our code and try it out. So over in handlers.go is where I define that type JSON response. And what I'm going to do is add another type here. Type envelope. I'm going to call it envelope because it wraps things. And it's just a map with a key of string, and the value is just interface. It can be anything, okay? And we have to put curly brackets on that. So now I have this type, and I can use it. And the other change I'm going to make is when we don't have the data field of a JSON response populated, I'll just say omit empty, okay? So now I have this type. And I'm not using it, so let's go use it. We'll go back over to our roots file, and we'll find that users all. And what I'll do is I'll construct a proper payload variable. So var payload, or I'll just do it this way, the shorthand. Payload is assigned the type of JSON response, and I'll populate its fields. And what I'll put in there will be error, false, because there is no error, message, and I'll just put success. I could leave it empty if I wanted to. And data, rather than just putting this variable all in here, I'll wrap that in an envelope. And what I'll say is envelope, and then in curly brackets, I'll give it the key of users and the value of all. Then I'll come down here and I'll serve payload instead. And with that one change, let's restart our application and see what it looks like. Make restart. And back to our web browser. So what we had last time was just this, which is fine. But if I reload it now, it actually makes more sense. And I can use that envelope for everything I'm serving. Because now I have the error field always available. I have the message always available. And those come from the JSON response type. And here's the big change. Now I have the data, and inside of that, I have users that wraps all of the users. And I think that just makes more sense. Now, obviously, I could go back here and change all of these sample roots, or these test roots to do that, but these will be going away before too long, so there's no real need to do that. In any case, let's move on to the next section and begin connecting our front end to our back end and actually authenticating.